The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities.
Hello, everybody. I'm back. Welcome to the Lifestyles Nutrition Radio program. I am your host, Amit S.Katz. The S is thrown in there, obviously, to distinguish me from all the many Amit Katzes in the universe. The Lifestyles Nutrition Radio program is here to educate you, to get you not going to the doctor. It's kind of a glorified version of an apple a day keeps the doctor away. We're just taking the apple to a whole new level. Welcome, Coachella, the whole of Coachella. Yes, I'm talking to you, Palm Springs. I'm talking to you, Desert Hot Springs. I'm talking to you, Cat City, Palm Desert, Indian Wells. Yes, I am talking to you, Bermuda Dunes. I'm talking to you, Indio, and I didn't forget Coachella, even though you're tucked away there far, far in the east, the city of Coachella. Yes, we're going to be talking about health. We're going to be talking about food. We're going to be talking about supplementation. Coming up after the break, I'm going to be bringing in Anne-Marie Palma. She is the owner of Bikram Yoga of Palm Desert. And you're probably asking yourself if this is a show about nutrition. How come? Why are we talking about yoga? I'll get to that in a minute. If you wish to call the show, by all means, do so. We will be taking your calls at 760-440-TALK or 760-440-8255. Again, my name's Amit Katz. If you wish to email me any questions that come up for you, you're more than welcome to go to my email. It's lifestylesweb@yahoo.com. I blog regularly. I talk about different supplements and things that will help your life. You're welcome to go to my blog site. It is healthtruthportal.com. All one word, healthtruthportal.com. If you hear of anything on the show that tickles your fancy, that you would like to try, and you do not have the opportunity to come into my store, which is Lifestyles Nutrition Center in Indian Wells, located on Highway 111 and Cook Street in the Ralph's Shopping Center, you can't make it, you're out of town, and you're jonesing, as we say, to get your hands on a bottle of something, by all means, go ahead, and you can order it off of lifestylesnutrition.net. Now, last week, at the end of the show, I talked about constructing your own manual for health. In many ways, you're already doing it right now. You, from the day you're born until the day you cease to exist, you are going to have opportunities to run into various little nagging pains, all the way up to something, hopefully nothing too serious. But you are already constructing your manual. You know that if you fall and you scrape your knee, there is a Band-Aid to be placed on that. You're also knowledgeable enough to understand about bacteria, so you will disinfect the wound and you will dress it. Now we can take that to a whole new level with nutrition, because now we are recognizing, science is recognizing, the whole of humanity is recognizing that our health is contingent on our diet. There's no way around it. If you think that you can cheeseburger your way to health, I'm sure that there's a person out there that hasn't thought about it, but I dare you to do that, and I'm sure you're going to come up short. And that's where I come in. That's where my store, Lifestyles Nutrition Center, comes in, and that is where my book, The Front Line of Nutrition, comes in. Now, I'm going to, in this segment, I'd like to educate you. Let's go ahead and elaborate what makes that manual. How do you chamber those thoughts for your manual? How do you create that manual of health for yourself? So, like I said, you scrape your knee, you know what to do. What happens when you have joint pain? Do you know what to do? If you don't, once you encounter it, you're going to go out and seek help. Now, you can go to your physician, and your physician will recommend maybe steroids and things that, you know, they'll give you some relief, but you're not getting to the root of the problem. That's where you have to get knowledgeable. You have to go out and seek these things out. If you're starting to feel deformity in your fingers, in your toes, an extreme form of arthritis, an extreme form of joint pain, and the medication's not working, What is that? That's the definition of insanity. We are repeating the same thing over and over and over again with the hope that something will change. It never does. If it does, we're talking blue moon activity, folks. This is not something that's going to happen. I'm going to read a passage from my book, The Front Line of Nutrition, 50 Treatments, Remedies, and Cures. You can find in a health food store. In the intro to the book, I talk about what I call the 3 pillars of health. And I quote, I have adopted a 3 pillars of health theory to my life. It serves me well. I believe that every human who enjoys some form of health is doing something similar without even knowing it. The 3 pillars are: 1, some form of regular exercise; 2, adhering to a particular diet; and 3, some form of health care. If I take my case as an example, I have chosen 1, Bikram Yoga; 2, a low-carb/high fiber diet; and 3, TCM, and in parentheses, traditional Chinese medicine, including acupuncture and herbs. The low-carb/high fiber diet keeps my weight in check. The yoga keeps my body systems healthy and in shape, and when I have an ailment or weakness that needs to be addressed, the acupuncture and herbs usually fix it. You can choose any modality as a substitute for the practices I have chosen for myself, as long as they work for you. You could have just as easily substituted running or weight training for my yoga, macrobiotic for low carb and high fiber, and chiropractic for traditional Chinese medicine, just as long as they work for you. But the 3 pillars are exercise, diet, and health care. So, we on the show will talk a lot about diet, but coming up after the break, I am bringing in Anne-Marie Palma. She owns the studio, is a teacher, and she herself, nobody gets to yoga just, you don't just walk in one day and say, hey, I fell on yoga, or you're walking in the street and yoga hits you in the head and you're, hey, who threw this yoga at me? It doesn't work that way. Yoga is something that you come to, and usually you come to it either with a problem, or you come to it with a mental issue, or a friend says, hey, you have got to try this. And hopefully it sticks. Now, in my case, my genesis of how I got to the yoga, like I said, there are 3 pillars to health. Diet, I kind of had a handle on that. And but exercise, this is 12 years ago. I was actually training to be a cage fighter, oddly enough. So I had a really bad attitude. I wasn't the svelte Amit S.Katz that you hear today, who knocks around at about 188 pounds. I was something like 230 pounds. Not ripped at all, but very big and very powerful and very mean. And I wanted nothing more than to go into a parking lot and beat somebody up. As fate would have it, I went into a competition. I really shouldn't have been fighting at a heavyweight. It was just a judo competition in Long Beach, and I during the finals, I actually twisted my ankle trying to lug somebody who was around 260 pounds, and I had a really bad break of my leg. It was a spiral break. The doctor who actually put the cast on didn't quite get it right. It should have been a longer cast, and when I finally got out of that cast, I had this skinny little chicken leg that was in pain. And it clicked when I walked, and I was like, wow, how am I ever going to get back to my happy self? As fate would have it, a gal who just finished up teacher training, who has been a good friend ever since, told me, hey, she came into my business, we talked, I showed her my leg. She said, you have to try yoga. I came in, and my massive ego that said, hey, I'm a 230-pound beast, and here's this little girl standing on one leg, and I could, in the real world, in the parking lot, I could push her over. She's standing on one leg, bring her head down to her knee, and I can barely stand on one leg for 15 seconds. I can't believe this girl is kicking my hiney. And my ego kept on bringing me back. And finally, I said, you know what? After 6 months, I was able to do the yoga. Not great, but I was in it. And all of that mental, all of that frustration left. I never wanted to fight again, and I've been doing yoga for 12 years. My leg got back to normal. My health has been great ever since. My weight, it's helped me in many, many areas. And we're going to get Anne-Marie in here after the break, and we're going to talk to her about how everybody's got a great story. Everybody comes to this from a different angle, and she's got a wonderful story to tell, and we're going to talk to her, scratch her lottery ticket, and see what she's all about as well. You are listening to the Lifestyles Nutrition Radio program on 1200 Money Radio.
If good health is important to you, look no further than products from Genesis Today. Genesis Today has a great line of nutritional supplements made from pure natural foods that your body can absorb, instead of chemical supplements manufactured in a laboratory. Genesis Today is a progressive nutrition company that specializes in superfoods. These exceptional plants and fruits are packed with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and other vital nutrients at 20 times, 100 times, even 200 times the nutritional value of common fruits and vegetables. These products are prepared with low to no heat so as not to destroy the nutrients, and package them in non-toxic glass bottles for your consumption. Visit Lifestyle Nutrition Center today to find out what Genesis Today product is right for you.
Have you ever gone to a health food store seeking help and left with a product you didn't trust and information that was less than reliable? That never happens at Lifestyles Nutrition Center in Indian Wells. We have over 20 years of matching our customers with the right supplements to enhance their life and improve their health. Come to Lifestyles and experience our experience. Feel better, look better. And now, through the summer months, receive 25% off of all of our store supplements. For more information, call 760-568-6522. And remember the name, Lifestyles, the first, the last, and the only health food store you will ever need.
Memory. It can be, less than reliable. Do you ever walk into a room and forget why you went in there? Ever lose your train of thought right in the middle of a conversation? What about misplacing your car keys, or misplacing the whole car? If you think about it, your brain controls everything you do, walking, talking, and remembering things. The healthier your brain is, the better it's able to control all these important functions. As a normal part of aging, our memory begins to fade. Prevagen was developed to improve memory and support cognitive function. If you're experiencing occasional absent-mindedness or just want to support healthy brain function, then visit Lifestyle Nutrition Center in Indian Wells and ask for Prevagen. Prevagen is also available by calling 760-368-6522. Call 760-368-6522 or visit Lifestyle Nutrition Center and ask for Prevagen today.
Turn your smartphone into money. Well, money radio at least. Download our apps for Apple and Android and listen anywhere. Money Radio 1200.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Lifestyles Nutrition Radio program. I'm your host, Amit S.Katz, and before we went to break, I told everybody about my genesis of how I got to Bikram Yoga, the significance of yoga in my life and how it contributed to my health. And that's what we're doing here. We're talking about health. If you think about it, most people do some form of exercise, but in many ways, oh, how rude of me. Our guest today, Anne-Marie Palma of Bikram Yoga Palm Desert. Hi, Anne-Marie. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you.
So everybody has a story. Let's step back a bit. Most people do some form of exercise, but in many ways, exercise is really not designed to keep you healthy. If you think about it, somebody who's doing baseball, sliding into base, or somebody who's played football for many years, or you're running, or whatever it is you're doing, those sports, they're fun, but they're really not designed to keep you healthy. And in many ways, we do an action, we move in a certain way, and then we run into trouble. I've substituted all of these high-impact things for something that will always work, will always keep me healthy. I've made a conscious decision to drop a lot of it. I'll still do it, but I've dropped most of it and just really focus on my yoga, because that's what's keeping me healthy. Now, Anne-Marie, I've been doing yoga for 12 years. How long have you been doing yoga?
I've been doing yoga for 10 years.
10 years. So I'm a little bit longer in the game, and you're owning the studio. How is that? How is that possible?
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Now, before you became a yoga instructor, and before you got into the studio, what did you do for a living? How does one go from doing whatever you were doing to yoga?
I'm a registered dental hygienist. I still am a registered dental hygienist. I've been practicing for 26 years, bending over patients, hurting myself. I did a number on my back. A lot of patients have bad necks and bad backs, and I was pretty much standing on my head to accommodate them. And I injured myself. I injured my back.
What spinal problems were you having? I mean, did you require surgery or something to fix it, or eventually would you have been required to go down that road?
That's what the doctors pretty much were saying. When I first went in, had my MRI done, they found the bulging disc. I had quite a bit of lower back pain. I had sciatica pain. I had lower back immobility. They said they could possibly treat it with some cortisone injections. If not, surgery may be required. And I didn't even want to do the cortisone injections. I didn't want anything invasive done. So I started looking for alternative ways to solve my problem.
So this is all 10 years ago, before you got into the yoga.
Exactly.
And how long were you experiencing the back pain? Was it just a few months, or was it years upon years?
It probably was pretty significant for about a year when I finally started trying to find something to do to, if not cure it, alleviate it, because I really was putting off doing what the doctors wanted me to do.
Wow. So now, I'm sure that your first yoga class was not done with the specific intention of fixing your back problem. So you hit upon the yoga, and then you discovered that it was working, or were you going back and forth from the doctor and the yoga?
No, actually, I was working on a patient one day, and I was in extreme pain. It was a particularly bad day for me, pain-wise. And the patient just happened to be Denise Abraham, who was the previous owner of Bikram Yoga.
My first guru.
And I think I was bending over trying to grab something out of a drawer, and my back gave out, and I was in bad shape. And she said, you need to come to yoga. That'll help your back. And she didn't really tell me much about it. She didn't even tell me it was hot. So I didn't know what to expect. And I had one other experience with yoga at a fitness spa, and the fitness spa was scheduled so that from early in the morning you were hiking and then biking and then Tai Bo and Tai Chi, and it was a whole gamut of exercise, and they ended with yoga, but it was a very relaxing meditative yoga, almost chanting like. So when Denise first mentioned I need to come to yoga for my back,
you thought I'm going to the spa for yoga,
right? I couldn't understand how that was really going to help my back. So it took me another 3-4 months for me to even get to her studio, because I just mentally didn't think that would solve my problem.
Okay.
So when I finally got there.
And when you had your first yoga experience, did you immediately feel a difference in your back and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe there's something here? Or, how did you know that you wanted to continue with this?
Actually, my first experience was not a good one. Again, because I wasn't prepared. I didn't even know it was hot. And I dragged a friend of mine with me who was extremely out of shape. We had went out to dinner the night before, and that's when we discussed it. And we had a big Italian dinner.
Oh, wow.
Wine was flowing. Very heavy food, alcohol. The next morning, after I had told her about it that night, we met for coffee, further dehydrating our bodies. So we did everything wrong. And she was game. I dragged her to yoga, and literally within the first 10 minutes within our breathing exercise, the two of us were exhausted. And she looked at me, and in class, she said, "Are you trying to kill me?" And I said, "I think I'm trying to kill both of us. This is insane." How we got through that 90 minutes is, I'm not exactly even sure, but I know it wasn't pretty, and we kind of crawled out of there, and I basically said, "This is nuts. I don't think this is for me." And I thought that would be the end of it, except I had signed up for Denise's 1-week special. And although when I was leaving that day, I said they could keep my money for the rest of the week. But I felt so amazing the next morning. I really did. I was driving to work, driving to my dental hygiene job.
The exuberance of your health?
The best way I can describe it is every cell was firing. It was like bing, bing, bing. I felt such an unbelievable energy through my body. It was, my back problem wasn't like boom, solved. But there was something that the yoga provided that I thought thought, there's got to be something to this. How could one class make me feel this good? And that's what made me go back.
Wow. So the one class, but if we put your back pain on a scale of 1 to 10, you did your first class, and let's say you normally were knocking around at about an 8 in terms of pain. After that first class, would you say that it dropped to at least one notch, or you were just feeling so good that it overrid, it was just overriding every other aspect of your pain?
I think the latter. Yeah. I don't think I could really say, boy, after that first class, the back pain, was alleviated all. But there was all these other things going on in my body that after one class, that was just amazing to me, that one class could do anything.
Wow.
So that's what, and I said, well, I signed up for this week. I might as well, I can do anything for a week, give it that college try.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up going back the next day and the next day and then all 7 days of that week. I really took advantage of that other. 1 week, back to back.
So at what point, from the moment you started, did you really start noticing a difference in your back? Because during class, Anne-Marie will often say to us, when the class itself is, for anybody who hasn't done Bikram Yoga, the sequence is, there's a standing sequence and a floor sequence. And before we hit the ground, what do you usually tell the folks? What do you usually, you tell the class about?
The piece de resistance.
Exactly.
And the Bikram series is definitely the spine strengthening series.
Spine strengthening series. And you always tell us that this fixes spines.
It does. It saved my spine. It extended my dental hygiene career. It's truly magic. What Bikram did with this spine strengthening series within the Bikram series is amazing. It's just...
Okay, so we've established that you had that 1 week. And do I sound a little bit too much like a lawyer, like I'm interrogating it? I hope not. This is the kinder, gentler approach to radio, I hope. So after the first week, we had you were feeling great. From that first week, how far out was it that you started experiencing like, wow, I'm getting my spine back. I'm getting my, my pain is diminishing.
I would say in that first month, I started already alleviating the pain. The sciatica was more hit or miss. It wasn't constant.
Mm-hmm.
I felt already I had better mobility. The stretching, was just amazing. And again, that spine strengthening series, it's sending all that fresh oxygenated blood and nutrients up and down the entire length of that spine. It's such a healing, healthy yoga. So, I would say in that first month, I was really feeling quite a bit of difference. It was probably the 4th month where everything was gone. I was totally asymptomatic by the 4th month.
And you obviously somewhere around the 4th month went back, had another X-ray, and the bulging disc was gone?
I actually have never had another MRI.
Wow.
When I went back to the doctor and he just did all the little testing things and just the way I was feeling, I mean, they were just kind of like, wow, because he pretty much said to me, you're going to need something. And
to push that, I mean, what is common for that? Not that you're
it's an inflammation.
They reduce inflammation, and if that doesn't work, they actually go with surgery, right?
Right, exactly. And the cortisone to me just masks it. I'm sure I would have felt better instantly if they would have pumped that in me, but again, it's just masking it. And I know people that have gotten cortisone and they need it again and need it again. And after a while, it doesn't even
onto it.
Right,
exactly. They get stuck into that rut of inflammation, cortisone, the body. If I give you a shot of cortisone, that's not going to push that disc back into place.
Exactly.
It's not going to strengthen all of that connective tissue around that vertebrae to make sure that it does not pop out again.
Right.
So, there's no solution. I mean, it's great for the pain, but if we can get around it, why not get around it permanently?
Well, exactly. And then, what I found with the yoga was not only did that help my spine, but then other issues that really weren't anything I really, would have talked about or said, oh gosh, I'm having this problem or that problem. But slowly all these other issues that I was having with my body were either healing or alleviating different, I had started with a little bit of arthritis in my fingers, and I have a history of that in my family.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And I know
both grandma, grandpa? Both sides?
Both sides, and my mother's really bad, and that was always a big
like
fear.
Deformity and
exactly. So
because we do have postures that we're actually lying there on our hands, and we're applying pressure on our fingers, and we're doing breathing postures where we're actually flexing these fine little joints.
And it's also the tourniquet effect. Even in our breathing, when our fingers are interlaced and we're really squeezing them, and we're stopping that blood flow for a short period, and then when we release it, you just get that explosion of that oxygenated blood into all those little areas that are just stagnant. You just don't get the blood flow like you need to. Okay,
we're coming up on a hard break right now. We're going to continue with Anne-Marie Palma of Bikram Yoga Palm Desert. I'm Amit S.Katz, and you are listening to the Lifestyles Nutrition radio program on 1200 Money Radio.
NBC News Radio, I'm Melissa Rayberger. The record Colorado wildfire is now 65% contained, but El Paso County Sheriff Terry Makeda is in no hurry to let anxious residents back into the area because he considers it a crime scene. As the vote gets closer in the Senate on an immigration bill, Republican South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham is warning conservatives in his party with plans to block the measure.
If we don't pass immigration reform, if we don't get it off the table in a reasonable, practical way, it doesn't matter who you run in 2016.
Graham appeared on NBC's Meet the Press. Florida Senator Marco Rubio says the current bill in the Senate needs to be tightened up.
At the end of the day, the only way we're going to pass an immigration reform law out of the House and Senate so the president can sign it is if it has real border security measures within it.
Rubio appeared on ABC's This Week. Senate leaders hope to have a vote on the bill before the July 4th recess. President Obama leaves tonight for Northern Ireland and the G8 summit. This is NBC News Radio.
As many as 7.5 million Americans have psoriasis, and many of them suffer in silence, hiding their itching, flaking, and discomfort. If you're living with psoriasis, your new life begins now when you call for a risk-free trial of Ceraderm. Ceraderm provides fast topical relief of skin psoriasis. Ceraderm helps to stop the itching, irritation, redness, and flaking caused by your psoriasis. Even if you've tried everything else, even if you've suffered for years, imagine living without discomfort and embarrassment, and without wearing long clothes to hide your psoriasis. We're so confident you'll love your skin after using Ceraderm that we're offering it risk-free. But you have to call now.
Call 1-800-503-9626. That's 1-800-503-9626. Try Ceraderm risk-free. Call 1-800-503-9626. That's 1-800-503-9626.
For the latest in the world of golf and to keep pace with what's happening in this ever-changing sport, tune into Inside Golf every Monday morning at 7:50. Inside Golf is brought to you by Arizona Investment Link. Real estate has turned around in the Phoenix market, and it's tough to buy a home nowadays unless you're working with a company that knows exactly what they're doing. Arizona Investment Link is just that company and takes service and their clients' needs to a whole new level. So to hear golf's latest, catch Inside Golf every Monday morning at 7:50, right here on Money Radio 1200.
I'm Phil Grandy of Phil's Gang. You know what drives me absolutely nuts? Is when they tell us that the market's going up because companies are doing really well and that the economy is turning around. What are you, nuts? The economy's not turning around. All that's turning around is they keep on borrowing more money, keep interest rates low. You join the gang. Make sure you're in the right stocks.
Why not check out philsgang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Lifestyles Nutrition Radio program. I'm your host, Amit S.Katz. And before we went to break, I have our special guest today with me in the studio, Anne-Marie Palma of Bikram Yoga Palm Desert. We were talking about how she arrived at yoga, and earlier in the show I talked about how I got to yoga, and she talked about how she got into it. But I'd really like to dive a little bit more for the folks who don't know what this yoga is, and they don't know exactly what they're going to experience if they do come to if they recognize that, hey, there is something here that I'd like to do, and yoga's becoming kind of popular. What is it that they're going to expect or what should they expect when they walk into the studio? So let's walk them through the experience. So here, I'm a complete newbie. I've heard this guy on the radio, this Amit S.Katz guy, talk about yoga, and I want to go. And there's a community class. I heard of this community class on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. What's a community class?
That's our community outreach program. We like to bring affordable yoga to those who would like to join in but can't afford it. So that's our $7 class that we offer Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:45. It's the exact same class. We are not shortchanging them. They get the same exact class. That if those came at another time, it's $18 fee. Exact same class, same teachers, but it's just our way of giving back to the community and providing affordable yoga for those.
Okay, so let's say I'm a homeless guy living under a bridge. I've crushed enough cans. I put $7 together, and I'm going to go and get my yoga on. So I park my shopping cart in the parking lot, and I walk up to yoga. What's next? What am I going to see?
Well, we try to explain to them what's going to happen. Most newbies, as you put it, are
how condescending, right?
A little intimidated, a little scared. They probably heard something about it. They know it's hot. They're afraid of the heat.
How hot is it?
105 degrees, 40% humidity.
And how long is that class?
90 minutes, okay. Which that is sometimes a little shocker for some people. They're not prepared for that. They think maybe an hour. So we tell them, the truth. It's 90 minutes and how hot it is. And I often describe it as very challenging. I often say it's not for people who baby themselves. Please come in with an open mind. It's easy to let your mind get carried away, and you can get into that room and go, oh my God, it's so hot, it's so hot, it's so hot. And yeah, if you focus on the heat, if you focus on the sweating, if you focus on all the extraneous things, it's going to be really difficult. But if you go in with an open mind and really work on concentration and focus, it can really make a total difference. There are people that come in and say, oh, I don't think I can do this, and do beautifully, because they're able to put all their fears aside and just go in there and do what they need to do.
Now, I've been doing this for 12 years. You've been doing it for 10 years, and you've been teaching for, almost 2 years now?
Right.
Okay. In this time, has anybody
died?
Has anybody died?
Haven't lost one yet.
Okay, we haven't lost anybody yet, right? Even though Bikram does say he's been trying to kill people for 30 years?
That's right, his torture chamber.
Welcome to my torture chamber. I've been trying to kill you folks for 40 years, and I've been most unsuccessful in my endeavors. Okay, so we haven't lost anybody. Has anybody required hospitalization?
Nope.
Okay, has anybody passed out or become so dehydrated during class that they immediately needed, some type of medical attention?
Fortunately for me, I have never had that experience. I have heard of a couple people who have passed out because they came into the class so dehydrated, but nothing that they needed medical attention.
I have never seen it in 12 years.
Yeah.
If anything, I see the flip side of somebody who came in, couldn't believe what he was seeing, couldn't believe what he the ability of other people in class. He became so enthusiastic by it, couldn't believe that he survived it, and wanted to come back.
It's an accomplishment.
Yeah,
it's a real accomplishment. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's no question that even the most intimidated that walk through that door do end up walking out with some sort of wow, that, they might say, oh, it was intense, it was hard, it was this, but they're pretty impressed by, as you said, what they see that the other people can do that are a little more advanced, that have been doing it for a while. Which brings me to another point I just want to say real quick, because so many people say, well, I've never done yoga, do you have a beginner's class? And it is a beginner's class. That's all we do. Every single class time is a beginner's class. There's always brand newbies in there. That'll be our new word. There's always newbies in there. And And there's always more advanced people in there, and there's some postures that have different parts to it. So the newbies will stay in part 1, whereas somebody more advanced might go to part 2, part 3, or part 4, go a little deeper into the stretches, what have you. But anybody can walk in that class first time and get through it.
Exactly.
They might not do every posture, they might sit out a couple postures, but there's no question all ages, all shapes, all sizes can do this class.
Another thing is that a lot of people want, they think, hey, why can't I just do this yoga at home? In many ways, you really don't want to do it alone because you want somebody to correct you. You want to be inspired by the people around you. You will pick things up that you will learn from and that you will see. And
totally.
In many ways, just that one little epiphany that you're going to get in correcting your posture, it will help you. So don't, we're professionals, don't try this at home. Come into class and you're going to get corrected, and it will help your life.
Yeah, you can't really have a tape of this and do it. I mean, some of our advanced students have been doing it for a while. If they really miss a class, Bikram does have his little CD. That's kind of just in a pinch when you really, you're traveling or something and you can't. It's all part of being in the class. It's the group energy. It's the corrections.
And we have an amazing group of people.
We have an awesome
group of people that, it used to, it feels now that the studio it's like a home. You go there, again, I don't want to, let's I know the first thing that will go through your mind is like, ooh, it's a religion, ooh, it's a cult, ooh, it's not a religion. We have many faiths. We don't talk about religion, we don't talk about God. It's not a cult. Nobody's holding your firstborn at ransom or with a gun to anybody's head. You can leave anytime you want.
It's not a sweatshop. We don't lock you in.
We don't lock you in. I haven't had to stitch Nike on the side of anybody's shoes. So, even though it is probably as hot as any sweatshop in the East, but, there's this wonderful group of people that, it's wonderful to belong to this group, and, it's a real positive environment. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get this much fun meeting strangers in a bar. I promise you.
Well, you know what? It's so healthy and people feel so good that when you feel good and you're energetic, and then everything else kind of falls into place for you, and people tell me they have more confidence because they've been doing this yoga and they've met so many nice people and they've extended their friendships, and it's really become a really neat little community we've developed.
Now, let's just briefly get into the postures. Earlier I mentioned that there's a beginning, it's all beginner's yoga, but there's a standing series and a ground series. How many? And there's breathing postures. How many postures are in the standing series? Is it 13?
That's a good question.
Is it because there's 26 in all, right?
Well, there's 2 breathing exercises, and Bikram actually even has the sit-up in there as one of the 26.
Okay.
The reason why he had to have 26 postures, because there's probably really only like 24 that he pulled out of that 84 original yoga poses.
Yeah, the original 84, for people who aren't aware of the history of yoga, there's a original 84 postures that were Patanjali's series, and Bikram Chaudhuri pulled a group of those and choreographed it to create what we call Bikram Yoga.
And he pulled those certain postures out because he and his guru were healers back in India, and people used to line up and they would treat them, and they would treat them with yoga poses for their ailments. So it was like one pose after another, and Bikram realized that it was those same 24, 25 postures that he kept pulling out as the most healing for the most common ailments. So he thought, instead of treating individual people one by one, how do we treat the masses? And so he choreographed this particular series using those amazing yoga poses that had the most healing benefit, and put them in a certain order, so one ran right into the next, got you prepared for the next. So, like I said, I think it was like really more 23, 24. So why do we have 26? Well, he made a big point of training to say it had to be 26 because this yoga is so healing, it cures all of your problems from A to Z. And there's 26 postures in There's 26 letters in the alphabet, and so he wanted 26 postures. So the sit-up became a posture, savasana, dead body pose.
We have sit-ups between, for those who haven't done Bikram yoga, when we get to the ground series, there's we repeat this posture, the sit-up, between various postures. So we'll go do rabbit pose, and then there's a sit-up. Or we're doing camel pose, we get down to the ground, we do a sit-up. So, So, I didn't know that. I thought that, I always thought the breathing was a posture, but that's also an exception
we always
to the rule.
26 and 2.
26 and 2, yeah. Okay, well, Anne-Marie, where did the time go? You're nothing short of a delight in the studio, nothing short of delight in my studio. Did you see? I rule this roost, baby girl. Anyway, so we should have you back and talk about more stuff. But any announcements, anything you want to tell the folks? The 30-day challenge or
We're in the midst of our 30-day challenge. It's always a great way to kickstart your yoga practice if you're thinking of doing it. I always have guest teachers come in. I'm really excited about one who's coming in tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
What's his name?
From Vegas, Johnny Salvador. He's a certified Bikram teacher, and he's also a star in Jersey Boys. So
how cool
very
is that?
exciting. Yeah, 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. tomorrow. So you might want to catch his class.
And does he? Where'd you get to him? How'd you find him, or how did he find you?
He's been a very strong force in the Bikram world. He's at trainings all the time. He teaches at our trainings. I met him when I was at training. I also saw Jersey Boys twice and saw him at that. But I just recently was in Vegas and went into the studio he teaches at, and he wasn't teaching, but he was taking that class. So we had a nice little chat just before class as we were kind of stretching out, and I invited him to come, and he was agreeable.
So he's teaching tomorrow at what time?
9 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Okay.
2 classes.
So if you really want to get your yoga on and see a great teacher and just generally, please, you're welcome to go to Bikram Yoga Palm Desert.com.
Exactly.
Bikram Yoga Palm Desert.com for the schedule. And you're welcome to call the studio at
760-766-1440.
And also like Bikram Yoga Palm Desert on Facebook.
That's right.
The more love, the merrier. You are listening. Again, thank you, Anne-Marie.
Thank you.
After the break.
Pleasure.
Oh, thank you. After the break, I'm going to do Herb of the Week, and we have also a question from one of the listeners. You are listening to the Lifestyles Nutrition Radio program on Money Radio 1200.
Memory. It can be, less than reliable. Do you ever walk into a room and forget why you went in there? Ever lose your train of thought right in the middle of a conversation? What about misplacing your car keys or misplacing the whole car? If you think about it, your brain controls everything you do, walking, talking, and remembering things. The healthier your brain is, the better it's able to control all these important functions. As a normal part of aging, our memory begins to fade. Prevagen was developed to improve memory and support cognitive function. If you're experiencing occasional absent-mindedness or just want to support healthy brain function, then visit Lifestyle Nutrition Center in Indian Wells and ask for Prevagen. Prevagen is also available by calling 760-368-6522. Call 760-368-6522 or visit Lifestyle Nutrition Center and ask for Prevagen today. If good health is important to you, look no further than products from Genesis Today. Genesis Today has a great line of nutritional supplements made from pure natural foods that your body can absorb, instead of chemical supplements manufactured in a laboratory. Genesis Today is a progressive nutrition company that specializes in superfoods. These exceptional plants and fruits are packed with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and other vital nutrients at 20 times, 100 times, even 200 times the nutritional value of common fruits and vegetables. These products are prepared with low to no heat so as not to destroy the nutrients and package them in non-toxic glass bottles for your consumption. Visit Lifestyle Nutrition Center today to find out what Genesis Today product is right for you.
Have you ever gone to a health food store seeking help and left with a product you didn't trust and information that was less than reliable? That never happens at Lifestyles Nutrition Center in Indian Wells. We have over 20 years of matching our customers with the right supplements to enhance their life and improve their health. Come to Lifestyles and experience our experience. Feel better, look better. And now, through the summer months, receive 25% off of all of our store supplements. For more information, call 760-568-6522. And remember the name, Lifestyles, the first, the last, and the only health food store you will ever need.
What the market close means for you, along with insight from local business leaders. It's the Financial Review with Sinclair No, weekday afternoons at 4 on Money Radio 1200.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Lifestyles Nutrition Radio program. We were so loaded for bear today. What a wonderful interview with Anne-Marie Palma of Bikram Yoga Palm Desert. Like I'm fond of saying, this isn't a bum show. We have some wonderful giveaways, and somebody took advantage of my wonderful advice, because what we do on this show is if you call in during the show, or if you email me at a question at lifestylesweb@yahoo.com, and I like your question, it becomes best question of the week. I read it on the air, and then you're welcome to come into the store at Lifestyles Nutrition on Highway 111 and Cook Street in Indian Wells, and you can win a wonderful bottle of any particular supplement. So, question of the week is from Mark Bennett of Palm Desert, and he says, I weigh 212 pounds. I just started using green coffee bean extract, and after last week's show, I added Garcinia Cambogia. Yeah, last week, the herb of the week was Garcinia Cambogia. We spoke about it with Kim Coventry of fitkim.com, and so he took our advice and added it to his weight loss regime. He writes, I've been losing about 1.5 pounds a week, but this pace did not change after adding Garcinia. Will the stacking of green coffee bean and Garcinia eventually cause a more rapid weight loss? There are a few things that you, Mark, well, first of all, you've won a free bottle of green coffee bean, so that should subsidize your weight loss program in the months to come. Come on into the store. You're more than welcome to pick it up. Let me answer your question. First of all, for a 212-pound guy, losing 1.5 pounds is good, but it's not great. On my program, the Amit Lifestyles Diet, and you can find the 6 pillars of my weight loss program at amitslifestylesdiet.com. Usually a guy that's walking around at 212, it's not the most efficient weight loss that you can be at. I'd expect you to lose at between 2 and 3 pounds a week. Again, that really depends upon your body mass index. So let's take it as a given that you're doing everything right, and that 1.5 pounds is still at a good clip, but we want to get it better. Chances are that you've only been on it a week. It will take another 10 days or so for it to kick in. Hopefully, you're doing a little bit more right than wrong. You know, I would look into meal times. If you want a better effect from a lot of these things, you're going to have to consume them at a better time. I would suggest taking your green coffee bean and Garcinia before your breakfast and before your lunch. And generally speaking, one of the things that I talk about in my diet is proper calorie control. The Amit's Lifestyles Diet, one of the things that I do is I actually have the person consume 50% of their calories from the moment they wake up until the afternoon, 12 in the afternoon. If you are doing that and you're stacking your green coffee bean and your Garcinia, you should get better results. Try that. Try eating 50% of your calories from the moment you wake up until 12 in the afternoon. Take your Garcinia and your green coffee bean before that. Now, let's get to herb of the week. Herb of the week today, or herb of the week, is horse chestnut. Horse chestnut. Horse chestnut. wonderful herb. Wonderful herb. What does horse chestnut do? We have a vascular system, a series of veins that are responsible for pumping blood. Some of them are deep inside our body. Some of them are more on the exterior of the body. The ones that are on the exterior of the body have a harder time pumping blood from the legs up towards the upper part of the body as a return mechanism. Now, if your diet is a little bit low on fiber, your colon is going to work extra hard. When that happens, a lot of blood ends up in the colon, and that causes a strain, oddly enough, on the veins on the outside of the body. When that occurs, there is a phenomenon called varicose veins. They will pop out, and they will get big, and if they get too big, you can actually experience some health problems from this, including blood clots. So, what does horse chestnut do? Horse chestnut strengthens the veins and the capillaries throughout the body, but mainly in the legs. This allows a better flow of blood up towards the heart and a better return. Now, if you catch the varicose veins early and they don't go down the road of being really engorged and painful and throbbing, you can correct this with horse chestnut. So, there's a wonderful company called Solare. They make a horse chestnut extract. I'm very big on this product. And anybody that has varicose veins, don't walk. Yeah, I mean, you can go to a vein doctor and they'll collapse the veins, but you're not correcting the problem. This is something that is important. We need to address this at the root. Collapsing veins, I mean, you're going to be out of harm's way, but you didn't learn to eat more fiber in your diet, which is contributing to this condition. And 2, you didn't correct. It's just going to come out this way or that way, sooner or later. Horse chestnut will allow you to get past this. Stay on it. Another phenomenon related to varicose veins is actually, it's not charming, it's not pretty, hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are corrected by horse chestnut. Again, if you don't eat enough fiber, your colon's working double time. If it's working double time, veins will pop out, and yes, it can result in hemorrhoids. Not a fun topic to talk about, but one which needs to be addressed. Last week, we had the herb of the week was, Garcinia, but the week before that we talked about moringa. I have a wonderful box full of moringa samples for anybody who wants. All you have to do is just come into Lifestyles Nutrition Center on Highway 111 and Cook Street. Just walk into the store and say, "Hey, Amit, can I have a sample of moringa?" And I will give you a sample of moringa. It's that simple. We are not just here to educate, we are here to help. So, moringa oleifera, what is it good for? It basically addresses 320 various diseases, anything from stress, nutritional deficiencies, pain, inflammation, and a whole host of other conditions which moringa will oddly enough help you with. It's chock full, loaded, full of antioxidants and anti-inflammatories. It is, by definition, the exact opposite of junk food. What is the definition of junk food? Lots and lots of calories, no nutrition. Moringa, lots and lots of nutrition, very few calories. So, if you want to experience the wonderful effects of moringa, please, all you have to do is just come into the store, and I will give you a sample of that. So, in closing, because we are getting to the end of our show, please, by all means, go ahead and you can. I would appreciate if you like the show on Facebook. You know, the more love, the merrier. You can go to Facebook and punch in the Lifestyles Nutrition Radio program. You'll find me and my mug smiling right back at you. Press like. That always helps. Anything that I've talked about today, you can go to healthtruthportal.com. I think I'll blog a little bit about horse chestnut and its various applications. Anything that you wish to, you're out of town, go ahead, get on lifestylesnutrition.net. We're running all kinds of specials, and you can purchase it off of our web store. And if you'd like to read more about my diet, the Amit's Lifestyles Diet, you can go to amitslifestylesdiet.com. And if you have a question for me about yoga, about anything, please, by all means, go to lifestylesweb@yahoo.com. Fire a question at me, and if it's a good question, it will be question of the week. Thank you for listening to the Lifestyles Nutrition Radio program. It has been fun. Take care. Be healthy.
The view